Hey guys, welcome back to Country View Acres. So we are still working on trying to put in some pasture fencing here, trying to fence in this area here behind me. And we've been putting in posts, we've been getting everything laid out. And today we're going to be assembling some of our braces. We're going to be putting together some double H braces. So I've done single ones in the past, I've never done a double one. But it should be pretty simple. It's basically two singles back to back. So that's what we're going to be doing right here. We're going to go ahead and get started. I've got a 12-inch long 3/8" drill bit. We've got to get our post drilled to put in our brace pins, and that's what's going to hold our braces in place between these posts. So let's go ahead and get going. So this post right here, this is the end of our brace, or it's our corner post. So this hole doesn't go all the way through. It's just going to go in about 2.5, 3 inches. Ends up using a shorter brace pin on this post. So in a previous video, I had someone ask me what I was using to hold that brace up horizontally and held into place. And all I'm using is what they call a brace pin. This is sold in the fencing section of the farm store, and all a brace pin is basically a 3/8" piece of round steel that's galvanized, and it's basically made to stick into the post and into the brace. It helps holds it in place. So what I have here is I've got two 10-inch long ones, and they're going to go through the post we drilled through all the way. They're actually going to stick all the way through the post. They'll stick out both sides and into the brace to hold it up. And then I've got a 5-inch long one that's going to go in this end post, that corner post, and it's going to go in that hole we only drilled 2 to 3 inches deep. And again, this will stick in the post and into the brace. It just helps hold it up. You don't necessarily have to use these. Some people will use like a big galvanized nail that's maybe 10 or 12 inches long, and then some people may use like big lag bolts to be able to screw through there and to hold them up. But this is what I've been using, and it's been working out pretty good for me. So when I drill a hole in the brace, I normally just come up about 1 inch above the center and drill a hole a couple inches deep. So in the previous video, I never explained why I put the hole in the brace just a little bit above center. And the simple answer is it's to basically help you as you assemble the brace, because after you put it onto the first brace pin, now you have the majority of the weight of that brace hanging downward, and it's going to resist wanting to rotate or spin on you while you're trying to put it together. So I mean, the simple answer is just basically help you put this together easier without the post spinning. All right, so we're going to start by putting in our short brace pin. So when we put these long brace pins in, we're basically just going to get them flush on the other side. Come on. So these wooden braces that I'm using today, these are actually 5-inch diameter wooden posts. And before, I've never been able to find these locally, and Farm Fence Solutions had them, so I went ahead and bought 5-inch ones so that I could build these braces just a little bit better. And apparently this DeWalt saw does not cut deep enough to be able to really cut all the way through this. So now for the tricky part, trying to get it to slide onto these brace pins. Try this again. Ah, slid on. Now, see if I can line it up with this one. Still got her pretty snug. Oh, whew, snug. I think I made it. There we go. It's in there. So before we put our next horizontal brace in, we're going to go ahead and put the brace wire on this one. We're going to put a staple horizontal, about an inch, inch and a half above the ground. So for an 8-foot brace, I think I'm going to cut off somewhere about 45 feet of high tensile wire. Trying to do this by yourself is a little difficult. So basically, you got to get it wrapped around twice. So I'm going to take my two ends. I'm basically just going to stick them together real quick with a gripple, just so that I don't lose them, so they kind of stay together. So these two wires we're basically going to put underneath that staple that we put in here on that corner post. Since I'm using a gripple, I'm just going to basically take up the slack, start pulling the wire, kind of trying to tighten it up. Okay. So that's nice and tight. Try to bend these back around so they don't stick out and poke anybody. All right, we've got the first half of our double H brace put together, and to tighten that brace wire to make sure it was nice and really tight and tensioned, I just used a gripple and a gripple tool to torque that wire down. Now a lot of people will use a ratchet strainer instead, so that's what this is. This is a ratchet strainer, and you basically tie your wire, one end of your wire to this end, the other end of your wire goes into this ratchet, and then you just start winding it up to tighten it. And then once it starts getting really tight, you got to have one of these tools to ratchet it, and then you can basically sit here and really tighten it down. Now I've used these in the past, and I was using number 9 wire instead of this high tensile wire, and number 9 was so stiff and so hard to work with that you could tighten this down, and I mean, you felt like you had this really tight, but then the number 9 wire still felt like it was loose. It was just so stiff and rigid, it didn't want to pull around the post. And I ended up breaking the teeth off of one of these trying to tighten it down, because the you know, that number 9 wire, when you grabbed a hold of it, it still felt loose. It really didn't, I didn't think it tightened up very well. So I really do like this 12.5 gauge high tensile wire. Using that as brace wire, I just think that's probably the best choice. Oh, whoo! Oh, that actually sounds more like a piano right there. Look at that. I never did get it to torque, but it's tight. I think that one actually loosened up a little bit. So these brace wires are both pulling backwards toward the corner post, and now this one here, the first one we did, is now a little bit looser. So I'm gonna go back and re-torque it. I'm gonna guess I'm somewhere around 250 to 300 foot-pounds. I guess I'll do it like you would a tire on a car, right? Just keep going back and forth till they're both torqued. This one refuses to torque. There we go. All right, we've got our first double brace built, and I think it looks pretty good. So I need to get moving on this project before the sun gets down. So I got a couple more over there I need to do, so let's head over there, see if we can bust those out real quick. So when you look at these posts right here, you can tell that they're slightly going downhill. So this one's a little bit lower, and then this one is even more lower. So I'm not sure how I want to do the horizontal braces on this. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I already drilled a hole at 38 inches in this post. I'll probably take a level across here. I'll try to figure out where exactly level across on this post is and drill the hole for that pin. And I think if this one comes across level, it'll end up being too low. So I'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably measure 38 inches up and come across with the brace level on this one. So I'll end up with like a stair step looking brace here. I don't know if there's really a right and wrong way to do this. There's probably several different things you can do, and this is what I'm going to try. All right, so Rebecca's holding it level, and then I'll just drill in this last pin. Oh, you can see how I drilled the hole too deep. The brace pin went all the way in, and that's what I hooked my brace wire on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put in a horizontal staple just like we do at the bottom of the post. And that's what we use to put our wire around. So hammering that staple in actually made the brace pin start coming back out. I'm going to see if I can pull it out. There we go. Now I can put my wire back around it. Okay. So when we started putting this brace together, I wasn't 100% sure exactly how I was going to do this one. But we decided to stair step it, try to keep our braces, our horizontal braces level. And I think it turned out pretty good. I think everything's nice and tight, and this is going to be very strong for when we pull our fence. So I am running out of daylight really quick. I actually have one more double brace to do. So before we run out of daylight, let me take you in a little bit closer and show you a little bit closer details of some of the stuff we're doing when we're putting this together. So every one of these braces we're building, we have been putting a horizontal staple in here to hook our wire around. So the wire goes underneath the staple, and then these other two staples right there, they're basically just giving a smooth surface so that the wire slides easily when we're trying to tension that wire up. Now right here is one thing I've been trying to avoid, and you can see the wires crisscross right when they're wrapping around the post. That is something I've been trying to avoid. That's gonna bite into the wire. It's not gonna want to slide as easily when you're tightening that up. So when we look at this one, you can see both wires are nice and beside each other when they wrap around that staple. That's what I'm looking for. Same thing here. You want those wires nice and right beside each other. That way everything slides easy and you can tension that up real good. So the reason we use the 10-inch brace pin is because we actually want it to stick out so that our wire goes around it. And that's where I messed up on that other one over there. The pin, I drove it all the way in, and I was afraid I was gonna have to use a staple, but luckily I was able to pull that back out and let the wire ride on it. So we got lucky on that one. So as we've been tensioning up this brace wire, we've just been using a Gripple, medium-sized Gripple is what we're using. And what you use a tool, and that pulls the wire through, tightens the wire, and it locks it in place, keeps it tight. And this is just a lot smaller, a lot cleaner look than using one of those ratchet strainers. I mean, look at that. It's barely noticeable. It's just a nice clean install. So once again, Rebecca's working a midnight shift tonight. She just happened to come out to let the dogs out, take them for a walk, and came by right when I was trying to figure out how I was going to level these braces. So she was able to stop here and help me out, hold the brace and hold everything level while I drilled the holes. So ended up perfect timing on her part coming out here. So this brace right here, this brace is going to pull toward the barnyard, and it's going to go through that dip where that culvert is. So that'll probably be the next video. We'll probably try to stretch this section of fence and put in the rest of the posts on this side to hold that fence down. Now this brace over here, you can probably see on the very side of your screen, there's a single post over there. That's going to be a corner, and it's going to stretch around that corner back to the double brace we did at the beginning of the video. Now that corner, we still have to brace that corner so that when we stretch fence around it, that it doesn't pull that corner over. So that'll be something coming up too. We're gonna build some kind of a corner brace over there so that we can pull our fence around a corner and pull a longer stretch of fence that way. But for tonight, I need to get the double brace done that's next to the barnyard, and I'm running out of light. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, guys. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.